Well, I talked about the best, but now it's time to talk about the stuff that was not the best, at least to me. I'm Char Rethnam with my 10 least favorite matches of 2020 countdown with some honorable mentions. It's not a top 30 like my favorite matches of the year list countdown was for this reason. One, there were a lot of really great goddamn matches this year, despite any criticisms I had. And the main reason I'm making this list shorter, I'm taking out AEW dark matches, Raw SmackDown matches with non-finishes, and just focusing on, matches I truly did not like. They got a lot of hype. They were cinematic matches. They put over a part-timer that didn't need to be a fucking champion in 2020. Wonder if you can guess what that was about. But in all honesty, the pandemic era has been rough on everybody. And these wrestlers are going out there putting their health, their lives on the line to do what they love and give us so much live wrestling. And that has to be commended. So anyway, let's go with the honorable mentions. Hager versus Moxley, no holds barred from Dynamite in April 2020. Fucking shit, Jake should have never been signed. Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy, bar fight, SmackDown, July 2020. That was really goddamn shit and bullshit cinematic. Money in the Bank match with Otis winning. Yeah, sure, Asuka won, but this was way too long, way too fucking ridiculous, and I didn't fucking like it at all. If everybody had fun, that's fine. I didn't like it. And also, Otis winning Money in the Bank was fucking dog shit. Moose versus Tommy Dreamer at Slammiversary. The fact that Tommy Dreamer is still wrestling in 2020, even though I don't mind Tommy Dreamer, is fucking ridiculous. And then we get Okada versus the Great Okan, New Japan Power Struggle. The Great Okanda, please never fucking team them up. That would be absolutely terrible, as good as that wordplay would be. Okada proves that even he can only do so much when there's a sack of shit across the ring from him. But now we go to number 10, the Knockouts Battle Royal at Slammiversary. The booking and also Katie Forbes being involved, that unfinished real doll with low-powered batteries stretched out on a goddamn torture rack and doing whatever the fuck she calls trying to be sexy. Let me say right now, you can like what the fuck you like. I cannot understand how anybody could look at Katie Forbes and say, yeah, I want to see more of that. And that goes for RVD or anybody. I mean, I just don't fucking get it. Katie Forbes drug the Knockouts division down into the fucking abyss. And no, I know Abyss is in WWE now as a road agent, but the joke still stands. Katie Forbes, and she could be a nice fucking person, I don't fucking care, but it was fucking embarrassing watching her in the goddamn ring. The women were having to struggle just to get over whatever the fuck she was doing, which wasn't any fucking good, and some of the other booking wasn't all that great either, but there was a lot of talent in the Knockouts roster at this time, even with, some changes they've had, Kylie Rae retiring, and best wishes to her in all honesty. They still did what they could, but Katie Forbes drugged this down. It was just fucking shit. And we go to number 9, Eye for an Eye match, the horror show at Extreme Rules. Making this one simple here. Ray versus Rollins. Look, they actually had a decent match for a while with the weapon spots and stuff like that, but the idea that you had to pop the eye out to win, you had to pop a man's eye out to win, I thought they were going to make a cinematic. They didn't. They tried to make it as real as possible, so real that a ping pong ball was attached to a glove. I don't fucking get why they thought that was a good idea. And Ray's eye got popped back into its socket because it wasn't like Harvester where it got popped out. And shout out to my Harvester friends, all, 2 of you, if you've heard of that goddamn video game. Fucking ridiculous, speaking of cinematic bullshit. But Ray's eye got put back in, so he was saved. It was their way of getting out of it, but yeah, the fact that they had Rollins throwing up and they had all this shit, it was so fucking bad. So fucking goddamn bad. And again, the match for a bit wasn't all that bad. We then get to number 8, the Tooth and Nail match with Britt Baker and Big Swole. Look, Britt Baker's embraced this new heel persona and done really well, and Big Swole has a great backstory. And they tried to build this feud, and I regret saying that this match should have been on the main card. This was fucking dog shit. Cinematic dog shit. Not even the worst cinematic match that I'm going to, talk about on this list, in my opinion. I gave credit for the women trying to do something entertaining, but they're in the dentistry office, Britt's dentistry office, or a dentistry office, fucking hell if I know. The Cons have a whole bunch of money. They might have bought one and just said, we're going to wreck this place. But yeah, Reba's like, oh my god, you stabbed her. How could you stab her? This kind of stuff. It was fucking embarrassing. Fucking goddamn embarrassing. This is an example of how AEW should not book their women. They've already got, they've got a dumpster fire of a women's division, despite the talents that they have because of the booking, and this did not fucking help. This was one of the worst things on AEW All Out, until Matt Hardy nearly fucking died on that dive. Thank God he's fucking okay. But yeah, not good at all. One of the worst matches of the year, in my opinion. Number 9, Braun versus Bray, or The Fiend, or, Braun versus, Rational Thinking, because he is Proud Boy Braun, and he is not very smart. And it's a swamp fight, horror show at Extreme Rules. Everything from the very beginning, Braun driving up there, being trapped in the chair, being tortured, and then trying to drown Bray in a swamp, and then pulling the whole Friday the 13th thing with being dragged down from the boat. I mean, even though it wasn't a boat, the banana boat. This was fucking bad. Really, really fucking bad. I absolutely fucking hated this match. I didn't like Braun as Universal Champion anyway because it came about 2 years too late. This feud may be one of the worst feuds of the year. I would do that, but I really want to just try and focus on doing these this kind of end of year list and then doing movie stuff, because you can check out my reviews and find out just how much I absolutely hated this. But yeah, this was fucking bad. Did anybody else think this was fucking bad? Please let me know in the comments. Then we get to number 6, Matt versus Sammy, Elite Deletion match, AEW Full Gear. 1, I am happy that Matt Hardy is okay because I am shocked that he did not have permanent brain damage there. But maybe he did have permanent brain damage because he thought this was a fucking good idea. Let me say right now that the whole broken universe thing, I was over within a couple years. He did what he could. He managed to reinvent himself. And he did some good stuff, but in all honesty, you can only go to that well so many goddamn times before it's like, okay, what the fuck? We have a bunch of mucky pond water down there. That's all we fucking have at the bottom of this well. And hey, there's Samara. Maybe we shouldn't tap this well anymore. This was fucking shit from them shooting fireworks at each other, the multiple reshoots. Yes, they're cinematic matches, so they can do that kind of stuff. But this feud shouldn't have continued after AEW All Out, because it wasn't any good heading into that. And that just should have put the kibosh on. You should have just blown it off with like a match, like a Falls Count Anywhere match, instead of something where, I swear to God, if they didn't spend $1 million goddamn on this, I would be stunned. And they were doing all the callbacks. Gangrel was there, and then Helms was there, and I like Hurricane. But it's like, long-term storytelling from Impact. Yeah, the stuff that I didn't want to fucking watch because I didn't fucking care about it. Now, people that liked it, that's fine. But all the drowning and everything, and all the, the bullshit that they were doing, and everybody getting busted open, and Private Party invading, and taking about 4 years to get there, and everything about this match was just fucking dog shit. Utter goddamn dog shit. It would have been dog shit in WWE, and it would have been dog shit, in AEW, would have been dog shit anywhere. So we get to number 5, Velveteen Dream versus Adam Cole, baby. Parking lot brawl in your house. Yep, just fucking hate it. Really can't even say anything. One of the worst matches that Adam Cole has had in his short NXT run. And I say short because it's only been just about 3.5 years almost. Velveteen Dream has regressed horribly. Even if you take the allegations out of it, and the stuff that he likely did, maybe didn't do, even if you take that out of it, his work has regressed so goddamn much he can't fucking do anything anymore. He doesn't fucking care. This was one of the worst matches that NXT put on. Not the worst. I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. But the fact that they spent money on this, I didn't care. This went on forever, and it was bad. It was really fucking bad. Number 4, the Mimosa Mayhem match, AEW All Out. Okay, 1, Chris Jericho is fucking washed, has been washed for a couple years. The Omega match that he had at Wrestle Kingdom 12 was smoke and mirrors. It was fucking smoke and mirrors. He has not been any good for a number of years in the ring. He's gotten by on character work, and I didn't mind him as AEW World Champion because he was doing a bit of goofy stuff, but he was still doing enough stuff where it's like, okay, he can actually make this work. No, he decided to basically just fucking do this and feud with Orange Cassidy, who I know has fans, and that's fine. I'm not saying Orange Cassidy can't even work. I don't care about the character. The character is fucking over for me, or over with me, as far as I'm over fucking seeing this goddamn guy on my television, but at least he has his fans, and he can work. He can. It just, you see the same shit all the time. The hands in the pockets thing, it only works for so goddamn long. And you had to dump your opponent in a vat of mimosa. I mean, come on. What the fuck was this? Why did they spend money on this for a feud? Has Orange Cassidy benefited from this feud? No, Jericho has barely, I don't think he's gotten one person over in his entire run in AEW. I can't name one person that has benefited from working with Chris Jericho. I mean, maybe because, I don't know, Jericho was too busy going to, doing a concert at Sturgis and questioning election results and doing a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, I'm going to dump on, the concussed conservative because that's what he has to be. He's also physically looking like absolute dog shit. He can't go in the ring anymore. He's not on any kind of training program. Everybody gets out of shape when they get older. That happens. Metabolism and all that, and genetics and whatever. But there are some wrestlers in New Japan, like Minoru Suzuki, Yuji Nagata, who are older than Chris Jericho. And even, other, hell, Manabu Nakanishi moved better in the ring at the end of his career than Chris Jericho did. And so many others do. And just seriously, the fact that Chris Jericho thought this was a good idea is fucking embarrassing. I don't feel bad for him. It's his goddamn fault. He took so much goddamn money from Tony Khan, but it was Tony Khan's fault for basically wasting money on Chris Jericho. Because outside of 1 year of AEW, has he been beneficial? Seriously, has he been beneficial to the company? I can't think. I can't think of any moment. I mean, basically, I can't think, but I can't think of any moments that Jericho's had since losing the championship, especially. I like the drone stuff, and I liked a few, I liked a few of the comedy moments. So I'm like, maybe he'll get back to being serious. No, he's going to feud with Orange Cassidy and just, goddamn, just god fucking damn. So fucking bad. Anyway, let's stay on the subject of Chris Jericho. Stadium Stampede, AEW Double or Nothing. This is the number 3 entrant. I don't fucking care if people think that I'm being too harsh on this, because people can like this. That's fine. Here's why I didn't like it. Now, I may have not been as mean to it during my initial review as I should have been, because I actually went back and rewatched this. It was a waste of money. It was a waste of time. It was a waste of resources. Why did they have a ring there? Why did they have a ring set up? Seriously. They used the ring for, 30 seconds? It's one thing to have fun. It's one thing to do cinematic stuff. But I'm going to dump on WWE for doing Money in the Bank. I'm going to dump on this, and I fucking hated it. It didn't help anybody get over. It didn't do anything for anybody besides show that, hey, Tony Khan's willing to waste a whole lot of goddamn money and make his, janitorial staff work a whole goddamn lot harder to clean up Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium. I forget what they actually fucking call it, but they're doing this shit for absolutely no goddamn reason. All the spots that they're doing were fucking ridiculous. The Bucks, one of them doing the run down the stairs. I mean, he couldn't get that much momentum because we don't want him to actually get fucking hurt. And then stops and then jumps on somebody that's on a table. Sammy Guevara, his cardio was goddamn great. That was really about the only thing that I noticed here. But Hangman Page didn't benefit. Nobody fucking benefited from this. This was utter fucking dog shit. And just encapsulates that AEW is basically WCW just accelerating to where they're going to maybe get to the bad parts in 2021. I hope I'm wrong, because there's good shit in AEW. This wasn't fucking it. Thankfully, the last 2 entrants are WWE. Number 2, The Fiend versus Bill Goldberg. Goldberg at Super Showdown 2020 Universal Championship match. Name one benefit to putting the title on Goldberg. One benefit. One. What was it? I can't fucking name it. Goldberg, and I got nothing against Goldberg as far as gaining money, getting money from Vince McMahon and living off of his name. He has done a lot of really good shit as far as charity. I reviewed his Untold, streak thing, the show that just came out recently, and it was actually a lot of fun and good to look back on. And he does seem like he is a genuinely good person outside of wrestling. There was no reason for him to face the Fiend and beat the Fiend. It was fucking goddamn dog shit. He couldn't even get the Fiend up for the goddamn jackhammer because he's washed. Because he's in his 50s. You can be in incredible physical looking shape, but eventually Father Time is going to catch up with you. Father Time caught up with Goldberg well before he even got to WWE the first time. But goddamn, this was so fucking bad. And this was the moment where I thought the Universal Championship was bad before. Nope, it's in the fucking shitter now. And it ain't much fucking better. I mean, Reigns is trying, but it ain't fucking good. Number 1, Loomis versus Grimes, Haunted House of Terror, Halloween Havoc. Thanks, NXT. Thanks. You made me not care about Cameron Grimes. You made me not care. Let me throw a little more shit in the goddamn air. Here we go. You made me not care about Cameron Grimes, even though I think he's great in the ring. Dexter Loomis, who I like as far as a character, this was some of the worst shit I've seen. The worst cinematic match, period. Period. From AEW, WWE, doesn't fucking matter. This beats everything. Just absolutely beats everything. Some of the worst camera work, some of the worst production values, the whole, goofiness. I don't mind wrestling being goofy because wrestling is inherently goofy, but this was really fucking bad. That's all I really got to say about that. I'm fucking mad. I mean, I got to go watch something else now to take my mind off of the haunted house of fucking terror. Actually, if it was about nymphos, that might have been a little bit better. Moving on. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.